The heroes of The Walking Dead are what drew the majority of viewers to the show, but the villainous Negan, as played by Jeffrey Dean Morgan, quickly developed into one of the most complex characters in the series. Here's how. Walking Dead viewers first meet Negan in the season 6 finale, Last Day on Earth, and he makes a big first impression. Not only do he and his faction known as the Saviors capture Rick and his allies, but Negan gleefully murders both Abraham and Glenn in a pretty brutal manner. He comes off as cold, conniving, and unspeakably violent, leaving viewers to wonder, where could someone so remorseless have come from? Before leading the Saviors and swinging his barbed wire baseball bat around, Negan was a pretty average guy. As a kid in Virginia, he quickly gained a reputation as a bully and troublemaker, but that changed when he eventually met a woman named Lucille, portrayed on The Walking Dead by Morgan's real-life spouse, Hillary Burton Morgan. The two fell in love, married, and hoped to start a family, only for their situation to quickly sour. Losing his job as a gym teacher after a fight at a local bar, Negan retreated into video games for a while.
Are you playing with children?
Teenagers, I think, mostly.
And at one point he cheated on Lucille. And to make matters worse, Lucille was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer shortly before the apocalypse began. Negan does his best to provide her with medicine in their now Walker-infested world, but she ultimately dies from her illness. This drives Negan over the edge, and he begins tapping into his darker, more cynical side. Sometime later, the Saviors form with him as their leader, making him and Lucille, his barbed wire baseball bat, a symbol of fear. Negan has remained a constant presence on The Walking Dead since his debut, arguably becoming the most interesting part of the program. He even got his own flashback episode in Season 10, aptly titled He is Negan, further exploring his life pre-apocalypse. Of the series' main antagonists, Negan has secured the most appearances, popping up in over 40 episodes across 3.5 seasons. In addition, he has the longest lifespan of the bunch, sticking around the land of the living for roughly 60 installments. His interactions with Alpha make him the first bad guy to meet their successor, and him subsequently killing her makes him the only main villain to defeat another villain. Perhaps most importantly, Negan is the sole antagonist to turn a new leaf and become something of a good guy. Also worth mentioning is that Negan boasts the highest kill count so far, with roughly 230 deaths credited to his actions. Included in those deaths are 6 main cast members. In addition to Abraham, Glenn, and Alpha, there's Spencer, Simon, and Beta. One has to wonder if he has more records to earn with his arc still unfinished. Jeffrey Dean Morgan is an excellent Negan, and he's made the now iconic role all his own. The image of him in his black leather jacket, combat boots, slicked back hair, flashing a devious smile through his tight graying beard is instantly recognizable. It's impossible to imagine anyone other than Morgan taking on the part, but that was very nearly the case. When Walking Dead artist Charlie Adlard created the look of the character, he based Negan on musician Henry Rollins, who auditioned for the Negan role before Morgan gave it a swing. Rollins spoke to Forbes in 2016 and discussed the process, recalling the excitement online about Negan's Walking Dead debut, saying, "The internet was wild with speculation because in the upcoming season, they were going to introduce a character. I went for the audition and there were 5 pages of really cool dialogue with all these curses and it was beautiful, but I didn't get it." Rollins added that while many thought he should have gotten the part, he was very impressed with Jeffrey Dean Morgan's approach. Rollins also wasn't the only big name who vied for the Negan gig, as Scream's own Matthew Lillard gave it a shot as well. Despite, or perhaps because of, his terrifying nature, Negan became one of the show's most popular characters. So popular, in fact, that he's even managed to cross over into unrelated video games on several occasions. Arguably, the most well-known appearance was his guest spot in the 2015 fighting game Tekken 7, complete with his own unique fighting style, moves, and a stage based on his TV introduction. Need more Negan? In December of 2019, both Negan and Michonne were added to PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds mobile for a limited time. And if you're into Magic the Gathering, Negan was included as one of the new cards of the controversial Walking Dead expansion. For as beloved as Negan has become, it's worth remembering that the character itself wasn't conjured up out of thin air for television. Negan first arrived in The Walking Dead issue 100, surviving to see this series finale in issue 193. Much like he does on The Walking Dead TV show, the leader of the Saviors makes a grand entrance with Lucille in hand, spouting expletives and putting all of his enemies on notice. As it turns out, Morgan took great care in nailing Negan's brash yet collected personality.
You do realize the storm of I'm gonna dump on Rick soon as I am clear of the storm he dumped on me.
In February of 2016, Jeffrey Dean Morgan spoke to Entertainment Weekly and detailed why pushing the strong language envelope was so important, regardless of how AMC felt, saying, "We're going to push AMC. The plan is to push them as far as I can because it's who Negan is. Negan is a guy that you want to keep as true as possible, and that would be how I want to play him as well." Looking back on the cultural impact of Negan's character, it's fair to say Morgan did just that, and then some. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Looper videos about The Walking Dead are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and to the bell so you don't miss a single one.